Hello folks, Perl students, we have to talk about the Expert Corner. So this module is something that an instructor could use on a toolkit system, whereby a list of students could be pulled out along with their classes and sorted by name. There is a new folder may have noticed in your home account called List Student Projects, and this directory holds folders of students, each containing a pipe delimited text file named student.dat. We can see that right here. If we go into list students and list this along, here's student folders by student ID, and let's take a look at DPAs and list that. As you'll see, there is a home page, which is the one that you get, the generic home page on the toolkit system, and then the student.dat is an important file, and this is where you're going to get all the information you need for the students. And we're going to talk about this some more, but this particular one, you see there's 3 lines and they are tab delineated. The name of the program is going to be liststudent.pl, and you should leave it right in that same directory alongside the other student directories. Here's pseudocode that I would like everybody to follow. This is going to be a good exercise, and it is highly recommended that everybody uses pseudocode. Whenever you have to solve a problem, this is the way to go. Before we look at the pseudocode, let's take a look at the additional notes for this script. First of all, you'll have to get used to student.dat. If you're going to manipulate the data, you have to know what it looks like, right? The first line of all these student.dats will include all information necessary for students, such as last name, first name, username, last 4 digits of social security, and email, and so forth. The only information you will need for this program is just the last name, the first name, and the email. So that's the first line of the data. The following lines, each line will be a course that they have taken with that instructor. The first field is an ID number for the class. The second field is the course number. The third field is the name. The third field is the teacher, and so forth. But all you'll need for this exercise is the first 2 fields. Those are the ones that you have to pull out of each of these lines. And of course, we never know how many courses the student took, but your program will have to work that out. Please use the variable names as suggested in the pseudocode. When you write pseudocode, it's very normal to come up already with names. It's a good time to think about what would be the best name to use for your variables. Please comment on the top of the program with your name, program name, and short description, and it'd be nice if you would continue that habit the rest of the semester. And here's some code that will be necessary to complete this project, and this is also a good thing to learn at this time. We want to know how to open a file. So the syntax in Perl is open, and then you have 2 arguments. The first one is a handle, and the Perl programmers usually use uppercase letters for this. Not that it's not necessary. Not that it is necessary. And note that there is no character in front, like a $sign. Okay, it's just a name. And in quotes on the second argument is the name of the file you'd like to open. If there's nothing in front, it just means opening it for reading. The quickest way to read a file is to name the handle inside of the brackets, and remember, no space. And on the left side, you're going to provide an array, which means this array is going to expect a list. Therefore, Perl, by context, is going to dump the entire content of the file directly into the array. And every line on the file will be one element in the array. So this is how it's done. Okay, you want to open the file, dump the entire content into an array as quickly as you can, and close. This is the open command that you'll use. The next thing is the split function. That's going to be very important because, as you see, you'll have to pull out the individual information here, as you have done a little bit before, and all of these are separated by a pipe. So here's the pipe symbol that you need to use, and in the first argument as the character delineator, the string is provided the second argument. These slashes tell us that we are in the middle of a regular expression. We don't know too much about that yet, but just know this means, okay, here inside of this is a regular expression. And notice that the pipe has a backslash in front of it. That's because the pipe has a meaning in regular expression, and we don't want a meaning, we just want a pipe. We want to find a pipe, therefore we're going to protect it with a backward slash. So this is the syntax. You split the content of this string into in this case you're going to pull out the individual fields into these variables, and remember how we do that, right? Just line up the variables to match the data that's coming in, such as last name, first name, and so forth. The output ultimately is going to look like this. Every student is going to be one line, will also be a pipe delineated record. You want the last name, comma, space, first name, pipe, and then the student ID, the email, and from that point, all classes are going to be pairs of these two information. This is one class and this is another. So you'll have the section ID and the section number, or the class number. Okay, so there'll be two pieces of information for every class they take, and of course this student had 3, Minnie Mouse had 2. Finally, so this will all end up, of course, in an array. And as your last statement, we're giving you the print statement here, which uses a map and uses a sort, and this is just the best way to sort all these students properly. Okie doke. So just if you need more information on the sort, remember you can go to CGI 101 as a very good explanation, and we'll talk about the sort in more detail. But for now, just use this, copy and paste that command, that statement right in your code. Now, take a quick look at the pseudocode. First, you're going to use a list command, as we talked about, the bracket asterisk, and we need that information in this particular array. Remember, that's what you're going to get. Okay, you're going to get the name of all these student IDs. These are the folders that you'll have to open one by one, and that information will be found in dir array. Now, for each directory of the dir array, that is going to be a student ID, right? So dealing with each student ID at a time, you're going to change directory into that directory. You want to open that, and then you're going to open the data file, which is this one. You want to open student.dat. Your program is going to open student.dat and dump the content, which in this case is just 3 lines. And those 3 lines will end up in student data. Now you're going to, before you start looping, you just need to look at the first line. So you're going to split the first line, and you need the following field: user ID, first name, last name, and email, as we have seen before. Now that you've taken care of the first line, it is time to loop through the rest of the lines. And you're going to split each of these lines into class section, class number like CS149, and then after you got those two pieces of information, you're going to concatenate them in this way. You want a section, a pipe, and a number, and just concatenate that as a string into a variable called course. Okay, so that will give you, let's go back down below here. It will give you these two. It will give you a section, a pipe, and a course number, right? You do that as one string. Then you can push that information into a new array called course array. So as you loop through all the course of that student, you'll end up with pairs into this array. Now that we're done for the loop here, for the student basically, now you're ready to concatenate the last name into full name. Okay, a full name is going to consist of a last name, a comma, a space, and the first name. Okay, that goes in full name. Now you're ready to concatenate the full name, a pipe, a user ID, a pipe, and an email. And you're going to put all that into student. Then you need to concatenate all the courses for that student. So you're going to use a for each loop. You're going to take your course array, and the program doesn't know exactly how many, but the for each will know, and you can concatenate to what you just finished there, the course to the student, as long as you still have courses to concatenate. Finally, we push the student into the array for students, because this is a complete information for the student, right? This is one entire line the way we want it. Push that into the array and you're all set. And the last says, so that's the end of the loop. Oh, first, finally you get out of the directory, right? You have to get out of the directory because you're going to the next students and you need to change into the new directory. Here we have two lines, one for sort, one for print, but as you know, you'll just use one command. That's all given for you already, and that will be just this print. Okay, thank you very much. This is a great exercise. It will give you you'll get a good idea what Perl's like after this one. Thank you very much.